So, ladies and gentlemen, it now begins. The Global Series Season number 2, Tier 1. The best Global Series drivers that have applied, and they've been given the roles. We're here in Albert Park, of course. We have 15 drivers this evening. Borderline satisfactory. Hello to Young in the chat. Good luck to everyone. Yeah, especially for me as well. Good luck to everyone. Our job this morning, normally I say this evening, but this morning in the UK, 9:32, we say good luck to everyone here. And of course, it's a global series. Now, I'm used to doing European races and leagues. Here, we have a global series, and that includes drivers from all over the world, I believe. What we're going to do is we'll let, who's the first driver? I believe it's the gaming wafer. So we'll let him complete his outlap. We will take you on a lap of Australia, even though I'm sure you all know what it is like. Then we will go through the drivers' teams and the respective drivers, the reserve drivers, a couple of things about this season, i.e. the rules and the assists and stuff, and then we will see what time the drivers clock in. There is the Elite Series going on at this time as well, which is a tiny, actually I don't know how many drivers they've got. I'm just going to have a quick look while I'm here, and I believe they haven't actually joined their lobby yet, so that's an interesting one, but that is on for you guys to watch. We'll go on an onboard view for Gaming Wafer's first flying lap. Takes it as wide as he can through turn 15 to lay out his start-finish straight for his lap. So, Albert Park, it has 16 corners, 6 to the left, 10 to the right. This is turn number 1 and 2. It's like a mini chicane, just after a DRS zone on the straight into another DRS zone, down into turn 3. We may see a couple of dive bombs this morning or afternoon, wherever you are. I know Finland, we've got a driver from Finland who's 2 hours ahead, of course. That's turn number 4, this is turn number 5. It can be done flat out. Down to turn number 6, it's a 90-degree turn, as wide as you can, or take the curb, it's up to you. Mini turn number 7 to the left, a turn number 8 to the right, down to sharp right-hander of turn number 9. Turn 10 to the left lets you out on a curvy part of a track where you can go full power. Down to the fun left right-hander of turns 11 and 12. A couple of cars can definitely overstep the curve on those. Down to number 13, we have another DRS zone here. 3 DRS zones to help in what is quite a tricky track to overtake in some corners, as the Toro Rosso nearly loses its back end through 13. Through turns 14 down to 15, this is really tricky and easy to lock up the front left tyre. That's turn 15, this is turn number 16. And that is a lap of Monaco. Hamilton's pole time was a 20.486. Wafer starts us off with a 21.678. Of course, quicker to come. And this global series features UK, Europe, Australia. I'm not sure about America. But Britain time is 9:30. European time is 10:30 or 11:30. Australians, it's now 8:35 in the evening. Excuse me, in the evening. We're on board with the Red Bull of Dr. Dre. He's the lead coordinator. He volunteered himself, and he also has a co-partner. I'm not quite sure who that is. It might be for Mr. Wafer, but I'm not too sure. Let's have a look through the teams then. So I'm just going to go through the teams in general, and then we'll have a look who's missing. So the reserve drivers are Nunny, Semi-Pro and Martin Bell. Now the good thing here is I don't actually know literally none of these drivers. I know Young Lights and Zero. I've seen Chain Game before, I've seen Rogue Flash, but other than that, everyone is new to me, which is good because I don't want to take a biased view, or so I'm completely neutral. Red Bull, we have Dr. Dre and Chain Gang. Well, they're both here this evening. We have Rogue Flash and Brayley. Rogue Flash is here, Brayley is 2. In Bahas we have Sten, and Ferry. We have Sten. Do we have Ferry? I don't think we have Ferry this evening. Marco Botta and Wild Beast in the Renault. We have both of them. Ferraris, Varlo and Gary. We have Gary and no Varlo. Young Lights and Gaming Burger. They're both here. Zeppi and Strauss. Strauss is here. Zeppi isn't. He's got a PS4 problem. Zero and Gaming Wafer are both here. Todd, Chris, I'm pretty sure they're both here. Which they are, and Berry and Ice-T. Actually, none of the racing points are here, so racing points will definitely be on a big fat naught on their scores. And there you go, so the drivers that are not here, Ferry, Varlo, Zeppi, and the 2 racing points. If we do the maths, a couple of times we've come in. Wafer's times 6 at the top for now. Gaming Burger 21.784, just over a tenth behind. He's P2. Marco 784 as well, bang on, exactly the same time. Which is quite interesting. V Todd 22.732, more than a second down. A couple of medium times from Young Lights and Wild Beast. What is the strategy? I've no idea, to be honest. I'm sure we can maybe get away with a soft to medium. I don't think it's too bad on the tyres, but I'm sure the drivers know more than we do. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, by the way. It may be afternoon or evening if you're Australian. Thank you. I'm just going to see if the Elite one is on, and it still isn't. I don't think it might be there. But interesting. And what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is also after this race, download the footage to my editing software. We're going to edit it, we're going to put some music in, some intro, and you know, as a viewer, I'd much rather prefer watching 15-20 minutes than 1 hour and a half. So we'll do that for you as Gaming Burger enters the pits. Let's have a look, see who's on a lap. Road goes 26.8 in the first sector. That takes turn number 9, kind of more on the inside line, but I'm sure he knows exactly what he's doing down to the turns 11 and 12, the left right hander. And some say that this is their favourite part of, well, any track, which is quite interesting. I know the time trialists love to do that bit, and of course everyone does a time trial in Australia because that's the first one that you can do. We've had 8 minutes of quali, we've got 10 minutes to go. I don't tend to put the quali highlights in because normally qualifying is a bit where we can have a little bit of a chat, a little bit of a discussion, see what times come in. There's no point in shouting about it. The quickest man on the track will be the quickest man on the track in qualifying, but race is a totally different ballgame. Strategy comes into it, a certain race pace comes into it, tyre management, fuel management, battery management, all the things that I'm sure you guys know consist of a race. As Marco Botta begins his next flying lap, he's already set the exact same time as Gaming Burger. Dr. Dre takes a provisional pole with a 21.286. Half a second, sorry, 4/10 of a second in front of Wafer at the moment, with 9 minutes of quali to go. We can remain on board with the Renault as Sten now takes provisional pole with a 21 dead, only 6 steps away from Hamilton's pole time now. So the drivers are getting quicker by the time the session goes. In other leagues, drivers may have some time to get on earlier, do some time trials, but for some of us, especially the Brits, it's pretty early, to be fair. I did not know that this was this early, to be honest. I thought it was going to be an evening thing. Turns out it definitely is not an evening thing. But Renault locks up the front right there, unless it was a bit of a glitch. We've got a couple of bugs with the Renault, I do apologise. But he's looking okay on the lap. Goes a little bit wide off turn 15. And he loses the back end as Marco Botta. He was second, he's now into P6 now. Strauss is on his outlap. I believe he's gearing up for a attempt to better P10 at the moment as Marco goes in the pits. This is the Alfa Romeo of Strauss. He's on the medium compound, possibly opting for that strategy to go on the mediums early doors. Whether he'll change that later, we don't know. In real life, they say that the medium, it was a C4 in Albert Park, I think, is about 0.9 seconds slower per lap. So the mediums could potentially do maybe a 22, depending on what the overall pace of the grid is. I seem to have some hiccups, and the good thing about today's race is that everyone is on a clean slate. No one's got any points, no teams have got any points, and that is good. 20.5 is coming from Gaming Wafer, so we're now breaking into the mid-20s, which is good to see. A little bit of pace coming from the drivers now, with 7 minutes of qualifying to go, which is good to see, definitely. Gary is 3.5 seconds quicker. We have the rev glitch, and we will remain on board with the Ferrari as he comes through turn number 15 and 16 to come onto the start-finish straight, where he will hopefully improve on his lap. He did get a 27.8, which I'm sure can be improved. He crosses the line, goes 24.5, and goes P. Well, it would have been 13, but his lap was invalidated, so he will have to go again. Strauss doesn't improve on his time. Rogue Flash goes into 10th place. Young Light's 9th. We'll work our way up. Marco Bota was P2, now P8. Was about to improve on his time, but had a little bit of a spin out of the final second to last corner. Gamenberger P7, Todd is P6, Braley P5, Dr. Dre and his Red Bull 4th and 3rd respectively. Sten is 2nd for now, and the Gaming Wafer is P1, and he looks like he's going to give up for another lap, which will be interesting, and we'll see how he does. I'm just going to have a quick look. The Ferrari of Gary is probably on a lap, as you can see. Chris just letting him pass. Chris is last, but I think he had a little bit of a slip or a wiggle or a bump of a wall, and he'll be preparing for his lap, so we can remain on board with the Ferrari. Once he crosses, we can go on board with Gary. However, that Ferrari is a bit annoying with the revs, so we'll keep on board with the Williams of Chris, keeping a good eye on with the Ferrari in front. Chris opting not to go into gear 8. Do you get a... is that quicker, staying in high revs of gear 7? I don't know. I'd have to have some scientist or someone who's good with speed to define that. And oh dear, is that a connection glitch, or was that the Williams smacking the wall? If he's got damage, it definitely wasn't a connection glitch. I think the Ferrari went off track as well. I'm waiting for a dynamic image, but F1 he did, so it wasn't a connection issue. He definitely went into the wall after turn number 5, which is an interesting place to go. Did the Ferrari affect that? That's another question to be answered another time. The Young Lights is about half a second up at the moment. That could put in P7, depending on how good this last sector is. Cutting the curve of 12 as much as he possibly can without exceeding the track limits, of course. 4 minutes of qualifying to go, ladies and gentlemen, before a formation lap. And then we get the show going. It's what happens in the race that counts here. Tracks like Monaco, etc., qualifying does help a lot. Here we've seen, but other drivers, I think there was a in the last 8 Australian races, something like only one has actually won from pole. That's interesting. And Young Lights goes P2 with a fabulous last sector. Well done to him. 20.710, breaking into the mid-20s. Sten is on his outlap, so is Braley. And we can remain on board with the Mercedes driver, as he's going to try and improve his lap. If he did get half a second off, he would go into P3, maybe, potentially. We'll have a look at what he does. High revs with 7th gear can be faster on a straight where 8th gear would only be used for less than a few seconds. Zeph, thank you. We have some knowledge in the YouTube chat. High revs with 7th gear can be faster on a straight where 8th gear would only be used for less than a few seconds. And that is, yeah, probably the case for Australia's straight. It's not the longest. You might as well just stay in 7th gear. Wearing the engine doesn't really matter. It might increase the temperature a little bit, but we're not on career mode. It doesn't matter about looking after the engine here today. Well, thank you, Zeph. Appreciate the answer. King Sten starts his hot lap, and we got a few connection issues, I think, but it seems to have ironed out just a little bit. We know that Sten is pretty quick. Can he improve on his 21 dead? I'm just going to have a quick look at what times the elite people are setting. A 20.063. Wow, that is quick. And these drivers are only half a second off that. So these drivers are pretty quick as well. Sten's looking okay. I didn't clock his first sector time. There's a bit of traffic. Chris again, but he moves out of the way. Front lock of a front right tyre. And off he goes, routing towards turn number 11. The second sector time comes anywhere about now, and he's 3 tenths down. So I don't think Sten will be improving as much. Bailey's just gone off at turn number 4, but he's back on track now. He's got a bit of space to get his tyres prepped. I'm sure he'll reach for line time. I'm a driver, my PS4 is just broken at the moment, won't turn on. Oh dear, Mr. Zeph. Oh dear, Gaming Burger is happy with his time. He's retired in the pit lane, and I don't blame him. I'm sure he's happy with P3, unless he gets overtaken. All drivers opting for the soft compound, which is good to see. Oh, I didn't actually run through the rules, which is probably a really good idea. So, anyway, short quali, 50% race. The only assists you cannot use are the... Oh, I think that was Val Beast just getting in the way of the driver there. I don't know if it stopped his lap. I don't think it did. But he needs to hurry up, young whites, or I don't think he's going to make the line. Anyway, yeah. So what happens is the drivers take a vote for the tracks. Round 1 is always Australia, and the remaining rounds will be decided by the drivers. This is necessary as we will not be able to fit all 21 rounds in before 2020 is released. We will estimate to do 16 or 17, and the calendar will be released on Wednesday. So you've got to vote for the tracks you like, and I'm going to vote Monaco straight away. And there you go, and that will be the order of the calendar, which is a really good idea of doing it. Really, really good idea. So, back to quali. The time is up, and we've got a car on the grass. That's Chris. He hasn't been able to set a lap time. Not the best start from Chris. Gaming Wafer comes into the pitch. Young Light finishes. Sten finishes. Brayley finishes. Can Chain Game Wild get a better time? No, he can't. And I think that's your top 7 confirmed, unless Marco can improve. Marco's 3 tenths up. If he doesn't lose for Renault again after turn 15, well, I don't know where he can finish, but we'll find out. Has he slowed down? I think he has, and Marco might have got an invalidation of turn number 12's curb, and that is the end of qualifying. So Gaming Wafer setting the first pole time of the Global Series Season 2. Young Lights is in second place. Gaming Burger is P3, and you can see the rest on your left hand side, of which all of them will be confirmed in front of your eyes as soon as you see it. I'm going to go through some of them votes because in the race when we have some time to discuss, because yeah, it's an interesting one. 2 purple sectors, I am shocking, I can't keep a cow on track, says Chris. Inside sources, ladies and gentlemen. There's your standing, so the gap between pole and 13th is only 1.3 seconds, so a 10th gap per driver, and that's really, really close. P10, no charge for tyres, and there you go. So Chris is opting for a medium to soft strategy, and that might work. it might not. We will see as the race goes on, and the Elite Series, someone's just broken into a 119s, which I've never even seen before. But these drivers also very, very quick, which is really, really good to see. And that's what we're here for. Quick racing. And Albert Park is a pretty good track for maybe not overtaking, but good wheel-to-wheel racing. Machine Fisher, good morning to you. You've awoken from your winter slumbers, as David Croft said. And we'll just wait for the drivers to get themselves ready. A couple of drivers from P10 onwards, P11 onwards, haven't been able to pick their tyres. But we'll see. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if some parts of the race get a tiny bit stale, the Elite Series is about 3 minutes behind us at the moment, and that is live on the YouTube as well, as the formation lap gets away, and you can see the tyres on your left hand side. So P1 to 11 is on the soft compound, and Rogue, Gary and Chris, 12th, 13th and 15th respectively, are on the medium compound, with Val B stuck right in the middle of those with the soft tyres. Wish I hadn't. I would say I agree, but I'm doing something proactive in commentating these quick drivers for the first race of the Global Series. I'm very excited to see A, who's quick. I mean, they're all quick, but who's the quickest? B, you know, who's going to be fighting for that Drivers' Championship maybe. Even Murat can take a couple of races. And yeah. Also, how many will we have left? It seems that every single league, no matter how fast or how many drivers participate, I don't think I've ever seen a race be finished with the full grid. Will that change today? We shall see. Will we have a safety car? We shall see. And we'll see. I'm pretty sure the race is dry as well, so I think that's confirmed. It is a bit overcast though. Track temperature will be a little bit lower, but nothing the drivers can't handle, of course. We've got 29 laps this morning, of course normally 58 for a full Grand Prix. And the Grand Prix itself in real life takes 305 kilometers exactly. So this is 152 kilometers ish, which is about 95 miles of racing ish to come, as the cars come across the line to get themselves ready for the first race of the Global Series. And we will see what happens. The McLaren and a couple of other cars already on the grid after DNFing, and they're happy with their times. As the cars get themselves ready, and the grid is now formed. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the Global Series Race Spec Esports tier number 1? It's time to get going. X lights out and away we go. Young Lights gets away well. He's already wheel to wheel with Gaming Wafer, making good progress into turn 1. And the McLaren leads through turn 1. Toro Rosso has to step on the brakes a tiny bit. And he's lost 2 places, Gaming Wafer. Down to turn 3 we go. His contacts at the back. There's a bit of a kerfuffle. I can't quite see it. Young Lights leads to turn 3. And there's a safety car at the start of Albert Park. And that was a very intense start. Gaming Wafer has lost 2 places. Young Lights gained 1 after having an amazing start from the grid, and Sten gets that place up as well. And 4 corners in, we have a safety car. No one's out though, but I expect some pit stops to be completed. What a start to the race that is. And it only lasted for 4 corners. My guess is that there was a bit of carnage at the back, well, of the midfield at the midfield of the pack, which then turned to the back of the pack, and just some colossal damage on track. So we'll wait for the cars to pick up the safety car and some pit stops to happen, and then we will see what happens after that. But we will have a safety car for the next 2 laps of this Australian Grand Prix. If Zero wins, I will give him a fiver, and he's in 5th place. So let's see if he can quit a place. Let's see if he can do it. Very interesting start. And we had a bit of a lengthy lights as well. Probably about 3 or 4 seconds we have the red lights for, which is very interesting. Exit of turn 2, Toro Rosso on the grass was the catalyst, said Zeph. And Zeph can be my eyes. Zeph can be my Ted Kravitz. Ted Kravitz, one of them. My Canadian Ted on the pit lane with Rosanna. He can give us some up-to-date information, which is good. We'll just remain at the front of a safety car. There's no need to go backwards anymore when there's a safety car. The good thing is I don't think there's any penalties. I'll just have a quick look. Just to confirm, there will be some incidents. So there you go. So they all got warnings. Collision. Are they in order? I think they're in order. So Zero had a collision with Gaming Burger. Marco Botta had a collision with Gaming Burger. Todd and Rowe had a collision with Dr. Dre. Gary with Chris. So it looks a bit of a tiny mess. But did that start by Zero being on the grass? Was Zero the catalyst, as Zeph said? Right, let's have a look who decided to pit. So 8th onwards. Chain Game Well, Chris, Gary, Marco, Rogue, Gaming, Burger, Dr. Dre and Todd. They all pitted. And excuse me, the tyres for those drivers. We've had a total mix of tyres. Medium, soft, hard, medium, soft, soft, hard, medium. Can the hards go to the end? Probably yes. Can the mediums? No idea. Can the softs? Obviously not. So we'll see what happens in terms of strategy. But all the 7 are happy. Softs haven't been used that much. According to the FIA, this safety car was brought out for safety, aka Ted. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Ted Kravitz. And the safety car has a minimum criteria, of course, of 2 laps, so it will be doing 1 more, as the McLaren of Young Lights gets very close to the wall of 16. And we will wait. When the safety car comes in, it will lead us on to lap number 4. So the start of the Global Series, in short, we did 4 corners, but it was an intense start. What a start it was by Young Lights. We'll have a mini look at the position changes. Not really below 8th, because they've done their bits. Which one is it? That one. So Young Lights moved up 1, of course. Sten moved up 2. Gaming Wafer dropped 2. Brady was up 2. Zero stayed exactly the same. Strauss is up 4. Vald Beast is up 7 because everyone else is pitted. Will that help him? Who knows? Chris is up 6. Oh, sorry, Chain Game Wild's down 1. Chris is up 6. Gary's up 3. Marco Botta is down 2. Rogue Flash has stayed the same. And although I did say we weren't going to do the rest, we did them anyway. As we're just waiting, ladies and gentlemen, for the race to get going again for the 2nd time. And we've got a very long way to go yet. Probably safety car is probably the right thing, just to bring to help the drivers who had damage, of course. Not just that, to just bring the pack back together again. Who knows what's going to happen after the safety car again. Ted bringing you that important information. Yes, I might stick to Rosanna. She's actually quite good, Rosanna. I didn't even know who she was, to be honest. But I don't have a Rosanna with me, I'm afraid. I do have Pineapple Juice though, and the safety car is has come in. Veiled Beast gets a 5-second pen for exceeding the track limits, and he also gets a collision with Strauss. That's interesting. I don't know what happened with Veiled Beast there. The Haas of Sten just teasing the McLaren of Young Lights a little bit. The safety car is not in the pits just yet, but the McLaren can get ready, doing some 1 minute breaks up, getting ready to restart the Australian Grand Prix here on the lake of Albert Park. What a shot! of the Albert Park Lake in the background, and the McLaren of Young Lights gets the race going again, nearly taps the wall of 16 again. The Haas gets a brilliant exit after the start line. He can overtake, he moves to the left hand side, but the McLaren will have the inside to turn 1 and the Haas will have to tuck in behind. We have some connection issues with the Haas, I do apologise. Out to turn 1 and 2 we go, down to turn 3. The Haas is very close to the gearbox of the McLaren. He's going to move to the right hand side to make a dive to the inside of turn 3. The McLaren can't turn in, but Toro Rosso gets next to the McLaren, overtakes him as well through turn 4. Young Lights has done exactly the same as Wafer, lost 2 positions. Wafer did that before, of course. Wafer gains 1 here and goes second place. 0P4, but McLaren wide again. He's off the track, he's losing lots of time. He comes back onto the track and he comes back in P9, nearly takes out Rogue Flash, and he comes out in P10. Which is crazy. Rogue Flash still has a wing, so no contact, not too much contact on him. Anyway, the chaos is over. Sten is P1. Oh, but Toro Rosso sliding everywhere. He really struggled to control the car. He did control the car at the end, but he might get overtaken by Zero, and he doesn't. But does he have front wing damage? He doesn't somehow. Gaming Wafer having a shaky part there, and that allows Sten to get 2 seconds ahead as he begins to lead us on to lap number 5. Marco Botta gets an overtake on Chain Game Wow, and the Renault of sorry, that's correct. The Mercedes of Rogue Flash is looking at the right side of Marco Botta. He might make a dive into turn 1. Marco covers the line and he has to tuck in behind. Some good racing after the safety car, trying to keep in touch with all the action that's going on. Let's have a mini update. Sten, P1, Gaming Wafer, P2, Zero, 3rd, Strauss 4th, Chris is now in 5th, Valbeast 6th, Chengewal 7th, Rogue Flash just moves past Marco Botta out of turn number 4 and 5, he goes 8th, Marco 9th, Young Lights 10th, who was pole, got 3rd, moved into 1st and now into 10th after going off the track. Was that driver inflicted or not? I do not know, and the 2 McLarens are right next to each other, 10th and 11th. So Young Lights will have to work hard to do something here. Marco Botta, I'm having a few connection problems. Even though my connection, by the way, is unbelievable. A few problems with a couple of the drivers. Oh, we have a yellow flag in sector 3, and that is Vile Beast gone off at turn 12. After the curb, he's able to get back onto the track, but he has gone from 7th to 13th. Not good for him, and he's on soft, so he's probably going to have to pit, will be my advice. The safety car is into the pits. I was talking to someone who told me the safety car was going too slow. Lewis will drive it next time to graphics. Yes, Gaming Wafer, fastest lap so far, won't matter. It'll be improved on later. Vile Beast retires from the race, not in the pit lane. Now that is very naughty, and I'm pretty sure you shouldn't do that. I don't know why he pitted either, because he could have put hards on and waited for a safety car and could have got back into the race. But hey ho, not my opinion. Was my opinion, but not my choice. Gaming Wafers reduced the gap to the Haas of Sten from 2 seconds to 1.4. Zero's a second behind. The 2 Toro Rossos second, third. What a start by them. A Williams and Chris behind. An Alpha of Strauss behind them. Red Bulls 6th and 11th respectively. Rogue Flash and Brayley 7th and 14th respectively in the Mercedes. And there's the Ferrari of Gary is a little bit behind. 13 seconds behind Todd. Brady, excuse me, has put the hard tyres on, 1 lap ago. There's a yellow flag in sector 3, and it was Rogue Flash. He's going pretty slow, and he will be overtaken by Todd. And Todd moves into P11, and the Mercedes of Rogue Flash goes back into P12. Excuse me, didn't quite catch what happened, but it did. There's another yellow flag in sector 3, and that's the Ferrari. A lot of cars struggling through the curbs. Excuse me, I've got hiccups. Through turns 11 and 12. Oh, I don't think he's got a wing, because his traction was very low in that corner. And Rogue Flash has retired. Okay, never mind. I thought he was retiring in the pits, but I'm wrong. He's fixing a wing, and he's coming back out. The gaming wafer has reduced the gap to the leader to 1 second. Chris is less than a second away from Zero. Strauss is also a second, less than a second from Chris. A little bit of a battle here. The leader gap from first to 11th is only just over 11 seconds, which is really good. Chris and Zero were literally neck and neck through turn number 9 and 10. But Chris gets the position. I don't think Zero will mind too much right now. He's got time to come back and catch up for Williams. But he did get that position out of turn 10. Down to 13. They go now. The gaming wafer's gap is decreasing very, very, not a lot, but closely. Gary might have had a cheeky incident there, but he's still got his wing, so that's okay. You can see the Toro Rosso is looking to gang up on this hash drive. According to Ziggo Sport, Jano up near will drive a VSC. Rogue Flash gets a 3-second time penalty. Gaming Burger sets a new fastest lap, because we should see that 25 possibly going down to 23s, I think, later on, if some drivers go for that fastest lap. Of course, there's a point for the fastest lap, and I don't think it's this league, but other leagues do it where any driver can get that point, which I think is quite interesting. But Gary has pitted on a new set of medium compounds. Can he keep those to the end of the race? He should be able to. Sten, the gap was reducing. It's now increasing a little bit. It's 1.4 seconds now. Zero is only half a second away from Chris, and he'll want that position back as much as possible. He hasn't got just his race on line, he's got a fiver from Fishy on the line. Oh, and Chris gets a 3-second pen, and it did look like he cut that corner quite a bit, and that is probably a deserved penalty. Is Chris feeling the pressure from a Toro Rosso behind? I think so. I think he is, and he's starting to drive a little bit tentatively. Not even tentatively in terms of the fact that he's being a bit more courageous in the lines that he's taking. And the Toro Rosso will have DRS down to turn number 3 if he gets a good line out of his corner. Chris takes it quite wide. Has the Toro Rosso got the pace? I don't think he's got the battery though, that's the problem. Chris will lead for pack of 2 into turn number 3, and we'll keep an eye on it. Chain game, wow, gets an overtake on Strauss to the inside of turn number 3. That looked like quite a textbook overtake, and that was a good effort by the Red Bull, who moves into P5. Young Lights gets a position on Dr. Dre. He's P9. Dr. Dre on the hard compound as well, probably letting him have that position a little bit. And there's a yellow flag in sector 2, and that was an Alfa Romeo of Strauss. I'm not quite sure what happened to Strauss, but he hasn't got a left side of a wing, and he's going to struggle for traction for the rest of it. And Young Lights is behind, so Young Lights will want to get past Strauss as quickly as possible. If he can't do it here, well, the problem he's got a Red Bull creeping up as well. He's going to have a look to do this left right hander. He has to slow down because the Red Bull is really slow. The Alpha is really slow. Young Lights is going to move to the right hand side of the Alpha. So is the Red Bull. Strauss loses 2 positions, and Todd will go. It looks like he was going to go for the inside, but Todd probably doesn't know there's contact in sector 3, and I'm not quite sure what's happened. The Red Bull is completely backwards, and that was after contact from Strauss. He doesn't have traction control on, so it's going to take ages to turn that Red Bull around, and there is a virtual safety car. Wow, I'm not quite sure what happened after the contact. I just saw a Red Bull 90 degrees to the left. He's going to pick, change the wing, put a medium compound on, and Strauss is going to change his front wing as well. Why the Alpha picker at the bottom in grey or dark? I don't know, but yeah, interesting. Dr. Dre, who is the lead coordinator, will have something to say on that, I'm sure. And there was something that happened there between him, Strauss, and Young Lights, because they all pitted. And yeah, I don't know. What I'm going to try and do, guys, is gather some clips from each driver's onboards and try and put that in the video as well. Because that was a bit of an incident, and the virtual safety car did stay on for about 45 seconds, and Dr. Dre, for speeding on the Delta, has a drive-through penalty. His race has literally just been ruined. Wow, DRS is back on, and we'll see what happens from this point. I think that did deserve a safety car, but I think the game thought, you've already had one, you can have one more incident, and then we'll give you another one. Zero comes into the pits on his soft compound, and the problem with Zero is that virtual safety car would have been absolutely perfect if it happened a bit earlier, before he passed the pit lane. But he hasn't lost too many positions. He's come out in 8th on the medium compound. However, he's going to have to do some work to catch Todd. Is that a Mercedes on the turns 12 and 13? It is, and he's lost his end plate after turn 12 as well. So a lot of end plates going missing. You can see him struggling for traction out of turn 13. Jarno is not driving VSC. Zaga Sport Alliance. Hashtag Ted Kravitz. Love Ted Kravitz. Look at that. It's crazy how much even an M plate does to an F1 car. It's weird. Brayley comes into the pits and we'll go back to the front. Sten is still leading after the first safety car, and of course, Brayley retires in the pits. Probably the best thing for him to do. Not have the best race this morning, but I'm sure he'll bounce back. The Haas of Sten now comes into the pits. So does Gaming Wafer, and Gaming Wafer, look at that. Look how close he got to the Haas because he broke later. And we'll see what happens when they come out. I'm sure the other driver will come out just in first. And he comes through now. Oh, and Gaming Wafer's held up a little bit. Just goes in front of the McLaren. It would have been very unfair if he came out behind the McLaren. So I'm not even going to call that an unsafe release. It would have been very unfair. The Toro Rosso's teammates coming through turn 1 now as well. They're wheel to wheel through turn 1. But Zero just gets through on his one lap worn tyre. Has Zero done the perfect undercut? I don't think he has, as his teammate will have the inside to turn number 3. The overcut nearly worked. It just didn't, the undercut just didn't quite work. The Toro Rossos are right next to each other again, with Berger just behind and Sten 2 seconds ahead. Problem is, will Todd, Marco and Chain Game Wow pit again? If they don't, we've got a race in our hands. Chris is probably going to pit. There was a 3-second time penalty. I just have to watch the stream. It was Chris again. So hopefully he will do that in the pits and get that cancelled out. One thing I do not like commentary on this game, commentating, is that I can't see what penalties people have. I can see the race director, but I can't see if they've been done in the pits or not. Chris enters the pits. Brakes as late as he can, and there we go. We'll see where he comes out. There'll be a lot of ammos on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. That is just people passing the pit lane. Nothing to worry about just yet. He doesn't do a penalty in the pits, and let's see when he comes out. Excuse me for yawning. It's still very early. I mean, it's not. It's 10:15, but. Here we go then. So Chris comes out of the pits and the Toro Rosso's there. Oh, the Toro Rosso has to brake a little bit as Chris is lagging everywhere. I don't know if that's the same for the Gaming Wafer or not, but it is for me. And Chris somehow pits and gets out in front of the Toro Rosso. So the McLaren of Gaming Berger takes turn 4. Sorry, 3, quite right. My apologies. And yeah, wow, how a race changes. Like that with pit stops. I've been attacked by a boxer. Pierre guys, you started shout. Ooh, I got scared right away. Hashtag Ted Kravitz. We're having the Ted Kravitz quotes from Fishy. Dr. Dre 25233. Will that be? I said it should be 23s, but maybe I'm wrong. And what's crazy to think, we're not even halfway through yet. Lap 13 of 29, and we got 3 drivers at the front who I don't know, excuse me, if they're going to pit or not. If they do not pit, we're in for a cracking end of a race. Can those tyres do... To be fair, don't forget, those laps are on the safety car as well. So they've probably done 10, 11 full laps. Can they do 25 laps on mediums? Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? We've got a mini pack forming here. It starts with Sten. And there he goes to Chris. The 2 Toro Rossos and Gabenberger. Now just remember, ladies and gentlemen, that there's a yellow flag in sector 1, and that is a Ferrari of Gary, but everything's okay. Anyway, back to the pack. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that Sten was leading and the 2 Toro Rossos were behind. So now we've got, let's say the 3 cars in front do pit. We now have a change of the grid because we have Sten, Chris, Gaming Wafer, Zero and Berger. Young Lights is okay if they all pit. He's on the hard tyres, they can go to the end. However, speaking about Zero just a second ago, he now gets a 3-second time penalty as they literally go wheel to wheel through turn 14 with the Toro Rosso as Zero. And apologies, Gaming Berger actually got that place into turn 13. It's a shame I missed that, I didn't quite realise the situation. But Gaming Berger has got in between the 2 Toro Rossos. However, of course, now the Toro Rosso might not be able to catch up here because Gaming Berger will have DRS to the Toro Rosso in front. He sets the fastest lap on the hard tyre. And that is interesting. Marco Bottas, there we go. Just put an S on the end, it's exactly the same. As Strauss comes through the line, will he have a good exit to have a go at Marco Bottas down into turn number 3? I don't think he will, just quite. And Marco Bottas comes out of the pits on a medium set of tyres in P8. Chain Game Wow has retired at turns 12 and 13. The leader, if he wasn't going to pit, look at that Red Bull. There is damage all over the place. He's took turn 12 too wide. He's gone on the probably the right curb at that point in the track. He's spun off the track into the wall, and Chain Game Wow in the Red Bull is out of the Australian Grand Prix. That is an interesting observation, and that means everyone moves up a place. And we started with 15. We are now down to 12 in this Australian Grand Prix, and we have the green flag. We're good to go racing again. Who came into a pits? Yeah, it was Michael Bottas, that's correct. So I'm guessing Todd will have to come into the pits at some point. And I think the pit lane is about probably 18 seconds. So Todd might come out 6th or 7th here. Gaming Berger has now entered the pits. And he releases. Young Lights is now into P8. And he's chasing the Alfa Romeo of Strauss for the next 14 laps. I've been speaking to drivers, so I think 2021 will be worse for racing. It's the FIA doing it, so they're probably correct. Hassan Ted Kravitz. Robin Creeft says that word. Jano's upset he can't drive BSC. He may be crying right now. Yes. Robin Creeft, I hope you're not Chain Game Wow, because if you are, you have just ruined your race off turn 12. And that curb, yeah, can be nasty, as you found out. But Gaming Wafer gets a 3-second time penalty, and that's going to help his teammate Zero on that place. Zero started 5th. He's probably the only driver that started where he is. He is. My commentary skills are unbelievable. So we just have a quick look at the stops for you. So you can see one driver, the Ferrari, is doing a 3-stop strategy. So is German Berger actually. Couple of 2 stops, mainly 1 stops, which is good to see. And Todd at the moment is up 10, so is Chris. By the way, Chris is in a fantastic position here. However, he has got a few penalties, and I'm literally talking maybe 9 seconds. But don't quote me, I'm not sure. It's definitely 3, but I feel like he's seen more than 3 seconds of penalties. The Elite Series has also lost 3 drivers as well, and a good turnout by them. 20 drivers. So well done to them. And we have 13 laps to go. And there we go. Right, so let's have a look at Todd for a little bit, because he's going to pit eventually. Let's have a look at the... If I miss anything, by the way, I do apologise. Let's have a look at the votes for this calendar. So in 21 weeks, F1 2020 will already be out. So we're only going to do 16 or 17, probably 16 races. And you can vote for every track. And what you've got to do is vote for the tracks you want to be on the calendar. Which everyone's done, except me. Well, most people have done. But, you know, so these votes are taken by the Xbox One Global Series, the PS4 Elite, and the PS4 Global Series Tier 1 and 2. So, Bahrain, 29, China 20, Azerbaijan 23, Spain 34, which is good, Monaco 24, bit upsetting. There's a yellow flag in sector 1, and that is Gary off at turn number 2. The McLaren of Young Lights is just going to come through now, and the Ferrari's back on the track. Anyway, Canada's got 35, so clearly they like that. French 28, Austria 40, Britain 42, that's good to see. Love Silverstone, Germany 35, Hungary 25. I agree, Hungary is awful. Despise Hungary. Belgium 36, Italy 41, love the Italian Grand Prix. Singapore 32, Russia 29, Japan 23, Mexico 26, USA 24, Brazil 34, Abu Dhabi 22. So you can see from the drivers what tracks are favoured, and those are Bahrain, Spain, Canada, Austria, Silverstone, Italy and Brazil are the main ones, which is good to see. I've been speaking to Lance Stroll, he's no longer racing for Racing Point, but no for Pit Mercedes. Hashtag Ted Kravitz. We have a sector 3 yellow flag, and that is Gary again. And my advice will be, you're so far behind, get into the pits and either retire that car or try and drive a little bit slower and a little bit cleaner and get this race done and completed. Fastest lap at the moment is 25.072, only half a tenth quicker than Sten, but at the moment Zero is getting that 5th place points, and of course the fastest lap point as well. Sten is really close to V Todd, and he's probably going to make a move very soon. Todd has tried to let those 17 lap medians count as long as he can. The Haas will have, he nearly loses the back end now on turn 12, but he does well to control it. He goes to the left hand side of the Williams to take the outside line for turn number 14. Todd tucks in, and he's now into P2. Sten's leading the Grand Prix. Chris is next for Todd. The gaming wafer is just behind Chris. I have no idea how much penalties Chris has got. But we will see as they come across the line very shortly. And we've got a bit of a pack at the front here. A pack of 5, I think, because Marco is 10 seconds away from 0. And there we go. Problem for Gaming Wafer, he needs to overtake Chris ASAP, but he's only got 10% battery, and he looked to have had a cheeky look at the inside of turn number 3, but he can't do it as he locks up the tyre. He really needs to try and save that battery just a little bit. What can Todd do with the positions? I don't know. I think Todd is guaranteed a top 5 as long as he can finish the race another 9.5 laps without losing 15 seconds, as Rogue Flash DNFs from the race in the pit lane, and he's decided to say nope, that's it for me. And Dr. Dre pits on that occasion. He's going to put the soft tyres on and he's going to go for a fastest lap. Smart stuff, and Gaming Burger is just coming across the final corner, and Chris is off the track at turn number 13. Gaming Wafer gets that position. He's now released to catch Todd. 1:24.4 for Gaming Burger. We've got Gaming Burger and Gaming Wafer. Todd now pits. He should have done that ages ago, and he probably would have finished higher. All the hours are going to flick up on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, and with 9 laps to go, including this one, Sten leads the Australian Grand Prix with Gaming Wafer 3.5 seconds behind. Chris only 2.5 seconds behind there. I'll put the interval back on so I don't have to do the maths. And Zero is very, very close to Chris. Of course, Chris has penalties, but does Zero know that? We don't know. Strauss will get ahead. The McLaren of Young Whites goes into turn 1. If he gets a good exit, he'll probably overtake the Williams down to turn number 3. DRS, he doesn't have, but he would have been more than a second in the detection zone. Anyway, Young Whites hits for a curb, tries to take over for Williams, and does so. Young Whites into P7. That was a perfectly fine thing to do. He didn't corner cut, he just went to use the curb as much as he possibly can. And the next overtake we're probably going to see is Zero on Chris. And that was a bit of a curb cut. He might have got a warning for that, or Toro also, but a warning is all that he needs if he can lower that gap that little bit. Zero's got tyres that have done 2 more laps, but it shouldn't affect him too much. We're talking to Claire Williams. Chris has been fired. Mercedes not the first team to use DAS. Lotus used it in 2011. Lotus didn't even know what DAS was. I didn't even know what DAS was. Anyway, for a DRS from the Red Bull, so also goes to Chrissy, moves to the left hand side to try and make Chrissy over brake into the corner, which happens. He gets a pretty good exit. He's going to whack on the DRS down to turn 3. Both of these cars go, but Torosso needs to get past it as soon as possible, and the Williams covers the inside line absolutely perfectly. And Zero just can't get past at this moment. The more these tussle, the more Marco reduced the gap, but that gap is 7 seconds. So no panic at the moment. And there is Strauss in the pits. He's just coming out now, and he's going to come out in P8 to try and set the fastest lap. And these two were going at it through turn 4. I'm sorry I went off the video. And Young Lights goes into P6 now from the P10. Oh, there was a tap from Todd, a mini tap, and he gives that place back, which is nice and fair and square, to be fair. And there we go, no problems there. Well done by Todd. He knew he did wrong, he gave the place back. Good to see. Chris has got a 1.2 second gap to Zero, but probably won't mean much at the moment. We'll check in with Sten. Dr. Dre sets the fastest lap of 23. Excuse me. 23.514. We did say we get into the 23s, and there we go. Lap 23 of 29. 7 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen, and what a first Global Series Tier 1 race it has been. We had a mega start, we have a safety car, we had collisions, we've had 4 DNFs. It's just had everything. Overtakes, good defending, Red Bull's getting absolutely destroyed, write-offs after the wall of turn 12, and we've got a bit of time to go as Todd somehow gets a little bit closer to the McLaren. Now I don't think they both got any damage, which is good to see after that a little bit of contact after turn number 5. I've got hiccups now at last 5, and we'll see if Young Light can defend this position. I have a feeling no, because Todd's on a fresh set of soft tyres. Young Lights is on the hard tyres, so they've done 13 laps. So we shall see what happens here. Maybe an overtake down to turn number 13. I think he's too far away, so we'll probably see an overtake on the start-finish line. straight, sorry, or start from turns 2 to turns 3. And you can see the Williams is just creeping ever so closer to the gearbox of the McLaren, coming through turn 16, and the Williams look to have got a pretty good exit. Can he make the overtake? There's a Ferrari that's got off the track, but will remain on board with this. Young Lights lets the Williams go to the left hand side. He overbrakes as much as possible. They're wheel to wheel through turn 2, a bit of contact, and Todd gets through. Nothing wrong from both of them really, and Todd is now into P6. And Young Lights is into P number 7. Let's go back to the Ferrari very quickly. He had a bit of an accident on the curvy straight, shall we say, from 10 to 11. You can't have a curvy straight, can you? But the 10 to 11, and we have yellow flags, but he seems okay. He's got no damage. He probably just lost the back end, and the smallest interval gap at the moment is 3 seconds. So we'll remain on board at the front for a little bit as Gary comes into the pits again, and that will be his 5th stop of the Grand Prix. And as Sten crosses the line, lap 25 of 29, we have 5 laps to go. I'm done for the day, need a cuppa, back to the studio. And I would say that, but I'm not Ted Kravitz. As Todd has just got past Zero, and that's because Zero has had an accident, and the yellow flag wasn't just for the Ferrari, it was for Zero. He's coming into the pits. He's definitely not getting a 5 off issue anymore, and he's gonna come out. Young Lights is coming to the pits as well, so there must have been some damage in another place that we didn't see as the front wing of a McLaren goes on. And we will see where these drivers come out. Gaming Burger, to be fair, is not too close to the start-finish straight. So those 3 will come out 5th, 7th, and 8th, respectively. Bit of a weird one. And at the front, Kingston is just managing his pace and the battery for the moment. I like that helmet. That's a cool helmet, Mr. Marco Botta. And we're just coming to the final conclusions of what has been a really, really good event, and hopefully something happens. You can see the gaps between the drivers they're decently sized as they came down the back of the start-finish straight. No driver have been saved. Yes, you have been saved, because Zero started P5, is now P7. Now, as the grid has got a little bit more controlled, let's have a look at some position changes very quickly. Kingston moved up 3 places to 1st after the Young Lights had a bit of an accident after a safety car came in. Gaming Wafer was pole, who's now 2nd. Chris up 12 places, he's got penalties. I don't know what they will mean, ladies and gentlemen, so don't ask. Marco is up 5 places. Todd up 6 places. Strauss up 4. You can see a couple of drivers now on the down one. Zero 57th. Young Light 2nd to 8th. Gameburger 3rd to 8th. Dr. Dre is down 2, still getting a point. And Gary's up 2, but he won't be getting a point. And he's had 5 pit stops. The fastest lap at the moment is going to Dr. Dre. No one's got close to breaking it. Okay, that's a lie, because Strauss was 5 thousandths of a second, 5 milliseconds away from getting the fastest lap. But Dr. Dre, the league coordinator, will be happy if he does get the fastest lap this morning or this afternoon, wherever you may be. I'm just going to have a quick check on the Elite Series, see how that's getting on. So they're on lap 24, and they had 20, they're down to 17. So they lost 3, and we lost 4, which is interesting. As we got 3 laps, 2 more after Sten crosses the line very, very shortly. And the Ferrari of Gary has actually been lapped twice. And Dr. Dre has been lapped once as well, but he's still finishing 10th. Sorry, I just had to sneeze. Let's have a look on the interval gaps just to make sure There's a small gap from Young Lights to 0. Will we see a final overtake before the end of the race? I don't know. It looks like the McLaren ran out of VRS for that lap, and that was because he went for a fastest lap, and a pretty good lap as well, a 22.763, and Young Lights is getting a point for that. The McLaren's 8 and 9 respectively, and it looked like he was going to catch 0 up. However, he's got a penalty, so I don't think he'll be able to catch up. Nonetheless, Steady's controlling the pace well. He's 6 seconds ahead of Gaming Wafer. Gaming Wafer is 3.5 ahead of Chris, and Chris is 4 seconds ahead of Marco. You can see the leader gaps there, and Todd is more than a pit stop and a half away in P5 at the moment. Not long to go now, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we don't actually know what next week's race is going to be, but looking at the votes, I can imagine that Silverstone or Austria will be next. So either way, we're in for a treat. How are people not voting for Monaco? I do not know. It's iconic. It has to be on the circuit. Down to turn number 11. Sten goes, and all he has to do is drive for another just less than 2 minutes, and he would have won the first race of the Global Series. And after the safety car, he's pretty much led every single lap, apart from the medium drivers that had to pit. 0 also gets a 3-second penalty as Young Lights gets removed. So at the moment, they both got 3-second penalties. So it's however this finishes right here, I think, right in front of your eyes, will decide who gets P7 and who gets P8. Monaco sucks, says Zeph. I totally disagree from a commentator's view. As a driver's view, yeah, I could probably imagine. But there you go. Sten begins the final lap of the Australian Grand Prix, the first race of the Global Series, which takes us all the way to F1 2020, the actual Cody's game, where they may fix some things, finally, for once. Now, we've had a safety car, which is good. We are, as a commentator and viewers, we always like a safety car. And we've had overtakes, collisions, crashes, DNFs, overtakes. I think I've just said that twice, but lots of things that make a good race. After a bit of racing, the gaps did increase. I mean, the lowest gap is between these two. We'll have to keep an eye on it just very quickly, because something may happen down to turn 3. But I just think the Toro Rosso 0 is just a little bit too far behind. And Newey loses the back end, and Zero gets another 3-second time penalty. It didn't even look like a time penalty, to be fair, as Sten is coming through the last couple of corners. Down to turn 15 we go. He's got 2 more corners to go. And after the safety car, and after Young Light's mistake, he's led every single lap of it, discounting the medium tyre. And for the first race of the Global Series Season 2, Sten wins comfortably with a 7-second gap to Gaming Wafer, who crosses the line now. Chris crosses the line in P3, but he has penalties, I think. Marco takes the podium spot, and Chris gets P4. So there you go, the winner of Marco taking that last podium spot. Todd is coming across the past turn 16 to finish off his race. P5 for him. Well done. Strauss is just coming through turn 16 now for a comfortable P6, shall we say. The next driver to cross, Strauss, well done to him. Young Lights is next. He had an amazing start, had an accident after the safety car came in, but he's fought his way from P11, I think, to P7, and with fastest lap. Young Lights crosses the line. A good battle with him was with Zero, who finishes P8. Behind Dr. Dre is clocked in 10th. Gary is confirmed 11th. We'll just wait for Gaming Burger to cross the line for his 9th place position. And that is the Global Series Australian Grand Prix for the first race of the season. And I will have some work to do in those highlights videos. Elite Series is pretty close, 1 second between first and second, but you can watch that in your own time as they all go out as a video thereafter. So there we go, and there are your podium winners. We'll just have a confirmed look at the final standings in that race. A couple of things will have to be looked at by the admins, of course. I can't take a screenshot. A couple of things will be looked at, especially that thing in turn 13 with Dr. Dre, Strauss, and it was another person. I'm not quite sure which one it was, but there you go. Look at that. Chris 15th to 4th, and with 12 seconds of penalties. Todd 11th to 5th, Strauss 10th to 6th, but Sten 4th on the grid to winning, Marco 9th to 3rd. A lot of good performances there, and Gaming Wafer will be happy with a 2nd place, no doubt. 44 minutes of racing in Albert Park, and the actual gap from Sen was 10 seconds in the end, as he had no penalties. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week, and my guess, it will either be Silverstone or Austria, but please check the RaceBet Twitter to find out. Have a good Sunday, have a good week, and also we'll see you on Tuesday for the European Series, because it's Monaco. We'll see you then, take care.